By the way, if you're out there and you are thinking retirement planning, pension is yours. Your retirement benefits are yours. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mama Bima Kenya, and today we are going to discuss matters retirement planning. So make a point of subscribing to the channel and ringing the bell button so that you're always notified every time I drop a new video. Karibuni sana. Kenyan retirees have been ranked amongst the poorest retirees globally. This is as per a report by the world's largest financial services provider, Allianz. And in the same report, they mentioned that Kenya's low pension coverage has also seen us ranked as the country with the highest population of people above the age of 65 who are still active in the job market, with close to 70% of our elderly male population still working, and another 64% of our female population in the same age group still active in the job market. Very sad statistics, and this will form the bulk of our discussion today on retirement planning. So today we'll get to see what are the things or what are the actionable steps, that we can take in our retirement planning strategy to ensure that our golden years can actually be filled, with a lifestyle that we actually do desire in those years. And our golden years can be a time where we never have to transfer black tax to our children. Okay? So when it comes to retirement planning, every time I sit down with a client, okay, I know a lot of us think of retirement planning and the first thing we think of is pension. And for today's video, that is the very last thing that we'll get to discuss. The report by Allianz surveyed 75 countries, including 5 in Africa, and found that the poorest pensioners can still be found in Kenya, Lebanon, and South Africa. And to further sad statistics, they found that income replacement ratio in Kenya, and basically income replacement ratio is how much you earn in retirement vis-a-vis how much you are earning when you are in active employment. They found that our income replacement ratio stands at 40%, lower than the recommended ratio of 75%, reflecting the high dependency ratio in our country. And I know this really rings true to a lot of us because we are a country where the bulk of our parents, or we are the retirement plan for the bulk of our parents. Okay, so there's still all these black tax on a lot of younger Kenyans now who are actively working right now. And today I want us to really reflect on what can we do differently so that our golden years are different from the statistics that we are getting from this report. The truth is, we are at an advantage, our generation is at an advantage because we have access to knowledge. We have access to, we can learn on how to do ample and proper retirement planning. And in this video, I really want us to take a dive into that. And just to see, other than pension, when it comes to retirement planning, what are these other factors that we can really, look at as we are doing our retirement planning? Because every time I sit down with a client who wants to do retirement planning, their key focus is always pension. Mama Bima, I want to know which is the best individual pension plan, but I like us to reset, and realize that pension is just one of the factors within your retirement planning strategy. So we'll get to discuss pension at the very end, but let's start. What else should you be considering in your retirement planning journey? Number 1, I want you to place emphasis on your post-retirement medical solution. Like at this point, when you start thinking about retiring and planning for your retirement, you need to ask yourself, in my golden years, how will I manage my medical care needs? Okay, so I come across a lot of people who are well employed or who are earning well. They have good businesses they're currently running, and they enjoy very good covers. You know, you're probably on a tier 1 type of cover, a premium cover, or even a budget plan. But the thing is, have you sat down and asked yourself, in your retirement years, will you be able to afford a similar plan? Let's say you're employed, your employer even gives you an international plan like Bupa, Cigna, etc. Will the 60-year-old you, the 65-year-old you be able to afford a similar cover for yourself? If you're employed, you enjoy a good, premium plan that can take you to Aga Khan, to Nairobi Hospital. At the age of 60, after you have left your employer, okay, will what you are doing right now in regards to your retirement planning, will it afford you a similar medical policy? So when you are thinking retirement, also think, in my old age, how will I cater for my medical care? Okay, or can I start building a fund right now that will be enough? Maybe you'll have a 5 million fund that you can even lock up in a bond at that time, and it gives you, some good coupon. It pays you what? Even at 12%. If you were to project, say, at 12%, that would be like a 600K year every year, and that should be enough to buy you a pretty decent medical cover. Okay, so I want you, in your retirement planning, think about your future medical care needs. Number 2, as you're thinking retirement planning, I want you to also think of your retirement home. So earlier this week, I was doing retirement planning with a young lady. Okay, am I young? Okay, just within my age group, and we were just discussing, and she drew a parallel for me. Like we were looking at like how her mom is doing in her retirement years. So the mom was able to do good retirement planning, and at least she was able to set up a retirement home. Okay, so no more rent in her golden years, and she got to tell me about her aunties, for example, who even after retirement are still renting. And the question to you that I want to pose to you as you are watching this, have you really thought around your living situation in your golden years? For me, I know I do not want anyone knocking on my door and asking for rent, or you see, some of the things that you go through when you are a tenant. Sometimes your landlord may be wanting to sell like the unit where you're at, and on a random Sunday they'll just show up with a buyer and they want to show the buyer around the house, and my God, it always feels so intrusive. Like, how will this person just get in? And they're looking, they're going into the living room, going to the dining area, going into your bedrooms, because those are some of the things that you have to go through as long as you're a tenant. So at this age, I want to ask you, or I want to encourage you, as you do your retirement planning, please also think keenly around how do I want my living situation to be in my retirement years. That is, in terms of, do you want to still be renting, or do you want to have your own home? So that if you decide that you want a retirement home, then start taking actionable steps towards setting up your home, maybe by age X. Okay, so everyone's retirement journey is unique. There are those of us who are able to get a retirement home well in our 20s, the very lucky ones, and early bloomers. There are those of us who are able to do that in the 30s, others in their 40s. At whichever stage you're able to do that, your retirement journey is personal, but please think about working on your retirement home and just ticking it off your retirement planning list. Okay, so number 3, in your retirement planning journey, I also want you to think about, what lifestyle do you want? I love it because every time I talk to young Kenyans, they tell me their ideal retirement, lifestyle includes, traveling, being on a cruise, like on a cruise ship somewhere. And I love that because genuinely, this is something that we really didn't get to see with our parents, okay? And it's good when we aspire to still have a good lifestyle, even in our golden years. But that just doesn't come just like that. We need to work towards that. And it's important that even as you are, building your pension and working on building your pension, you also need to take actionable steps towards building wealth. Okay, because it is that wealth that will allow us also, that will give us enough passive income, hopefully in our golden years, to allow us to now also do way more than maybe our pension can allow us to. Okay, so ensure that even as you are working on your pension on the side, you are also actively trying your hand on other investment avenues, investment vehicles. I'm talking of, and depending on your risk appetite, I would encourage you to sit down with an investments manager. Okay, by the way, guys, an investments manager is very different, from a financial coach. This is someone now who is more practical than theoretical. And there are so many locally, there are many investment managers. And these are people who literally sit down with you and you craft a proper investments portfolio for yourself. So I would highly encourage that at this point, we stop investing blindly. Get the services of an investment manager so that you get to analyze what's your risk appetite like, and what are those investment vehicles that you want to get started with? At what level will you start? And this is someone who will help you to stay consistent and be very intentional in your investments journey. Okay, so try your hand on things like, mainstream investment vehicles, whether it's real estate, whether it's shares, whether it's bonds. You and your investments manager will be able to sit down and craft a proper investment strategy for you. Because what then this will do for you as you are now going into your retirement years, okay, probably you'll be able now to liquidate, the bulk of these investments that you have, and you probably lock them up in an instrument that will be giving you, passive income, and now this can afford you that dream lifestyle that you have, of being in Bora Bora. A client told me earlier this week that her dream is actually, when she thinks of herself in her later years, she actually wants to be traveling somewhere in an island, Okay, so there you go. So make sure as you are doing your retirement planning, okay, it's not just a question of pension. Okay, so we've said so far that think about your medical care in old age, think about your retirement home, and tick that off your retirement planning checklist. And also now, be building wealth, intentionally, because then this will really play a huge role in giving you that lifestyle that you dream about in your old age. Number 4, as you are doing your retirement planning, I want you to think seriously about inheritance planning. Okay? And when it comes to inheritance planning, let me tell you, a lot of our parents and a lot of Kenyan retirees are usually conflicted because in most cases, yes, maybe there'll be that retirement home, okay, but they're not liquid, okay? So even the majority of the estate that they built is probably now in illiquid assets, maybe a plot here and there, okay? But they have very little liquidity. So at the point where they're retiring, you can actually see the need for liquidity, like they're desperate for liquidity, to a point where, number 1, they have to dig deep into their pension benefits. This is why we actually end up taking a portion of our pension and retirement benefits, because we never built liquidity on the side. I mean, this pension benefit, in most cases, is usually like the only avenue for liquidity in that for that retiree. Okay, so what I'm saying is, when you are doing your pension, like when you're building your pension, okay, I also want you to start thinking intentionally as you're acquiring assets. Start thinking on, how am I going to build an inheritance for my children? Okay, because also in old age, you also find, people who have a decent pension, but they are so scared, like they do not want, to eat into that pension as much as they should enjoy it, because they're still counting on the pension to be an inheritance for their children. By the way, if you're out there and you are thinking retirement planning, pension is yours. Your retirement benefits are yours. Like that is the wealth, or the income that will be coming from your pension should be what you're able to live on in your golden years. It should not even be part of, say, the inheritance kitty that you are looking to leave behind for your children. So you find a lot of retirees having so much guilt because at any time, they are either drawing down from that pension, or anytime they're thinking of, now, do I convert this pension into an annuity? Their biggest fear is, how much of this now can I leave behind for my children? Okay, so when you're doing your retirement planning, this is a good time to now start thinking on how to build an inheritance, and we are in times where now it's become very easy to do inheritance planning. I know traditionally, inheritance planning was done through what? The acquisition of mashambas, and you would decide, that quarter piece of acre is for my daughter, the other quarter is for my son. But the truth is, right now, those traditional inheritance planning tools are too capital intensive. Okay, they just need so much. You either have to go into serious debt to acquire them, right? Or even they're borderline unattainable. Okay, but we are in an environment where literally inheritance planning could start from what? 3,000, 5,000 shillings. If you're watching this, I want you to explore the role of whole life insurance in helping you do inheritance planning. And you will be blown away when you realize that inheritance planning, you don't have to break bank when you're doing inheritance planning. You just start with what you have, whether it's that 5K, whether it's that 10K, whether it's 100K, 300K, whatever your pocket allows, you will still be able to build a sizable inheritance plan. And I mean a multi-million inheritance, for your children, and an immediate inheritance. Okay, so as you are doing retirement planning, this is a good time, so that by the time you're retiring, you'll have that, that freedom of knowing that my pension is mine. This is also not what, like now I'll need to leave behind, say, for the kids. Okay, so you can manage it in your old age. Okay, so other than inheritance planning, 5, I also want you to start keenly thinking about estate planning, okay? Because it's my hope during this retirement planning journey that you are building wealth, you are acquiring assets, you still even have like the main pension that you're also building on the side. And the truth is, you do not want to do all that work only for you to lose those, assets to the people that were not even your rightful heirs. So every time I say, this is a good time to start exploring, the use of trust funds, to start exploring the use of estate planning tools such as family trusts, okay? I like to say a trust fund, you can even start from as low as 5,000 shillings. Of course, the family trust will definitely need you to dig deeper to set it up, because for the best, trust company in the country, to set up a family trust costs anything between 350 to about 400K, but those are just the initial setup costs. Okay, but after that, now you know that you have a vehicle that really safeguards all this wealth. You are talking of whether it's your pension, it safeguards that, whether it's all the mashambas you've acquired, whether it's the bonds that you have bought out there, whether it's the life assurance policies that you have taken maybe for inheritance planning, then you have a tool that gets to safeguard all that, and it's the constitution of your wealth. Okay, it literally notes down how you want this wealth passed on to your children, and it allows that wealth to hopefully even go down different generations. Okay, so now this is another component of your retirement planning. I want you to seriously think, because in this journey, you are building a lot of wealth, you're acquiring a lot of assets. So how can you ensure that this estate that you are building and that you are growing then remains safeguarded, and it will eventually land into the rightful hands of your heirs? Okay, so we have discussed all those 5, key sort of like areas that you need to really think deeply about and start working towards. That is your post-retirement medical solution, your retirement home, the wealth that you're building to give you that lifestyle that you want in old age, your inheritance planning and estate planning. Now, let's end by talking about pension, because we can talk about retirement planning and not talk about pension. Okay, so, and my question, because from the report that we read by Allianz, already you can tell that a lot of us, it always feels that the only people who have access to pension are those who are formally employed and those who are pensionable. But guys, even for those of us who are in business, you do realize that individual pension plans are for you. I'm talking about you. You do realize that these IPPs, okay? If you are ever on my page, whether on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, on LinkedIn, you'll always notice I like to talk about IPPs, individual pension plans. You do realize that these IPPs are for you to take advantage of. You don't need an employer to do this for you. It's just a simple account that you open and you start setting aside some money there for your retirement. As you know, early retirement age in Kenya is the age of 50. Normal retirement is at the age of 60. Okay, so now you get to build a lump sum into this pension account, and you can start to draw down from that account. That is, you can use the accumulated pension benefits in that account from the age of 50, and you get to decide whether you want to purchase an annuity or an income drawdown. And one of the key mistakes that I note with a lot of us, as you know, if you are saving, if your pension or if your IPP is a provident fund, that means at the point of retirement, you can literally access 100% of those benefits in cash. And remember, because a lot of us don't build wealth on the side, and pension now turns to be the only source of passive income and liquidity we have in our old age, then it means a lot of us really want to receive our pension in cash. But let me tell you, anytime you do that, KRA will be there. And guys, that KRA tax goes up to 30%. It's a graduated scale, but the bulk of your pension of the pension benefits that you are receiving in cash will be taxed up to 30%. It's painful. Let me tell you, I walk this retirement journey with a lot of my clients who are now at the brink of retiring, and I can tell you that's a very painful process. You want to avoid that, and you can avoid that by ensuring that in old age you have different sources of passive income. Let your pension benefit go into either an annuity or an income drawdown, because if you don't access your pension benefit in cash, then there will be no tax. Okay, so if you have a 20 million pension, you'll be able to purchase an annuity with the entire 20 million. Okay, but if you have that 20 million retirement benefits in a provident fund and you decide to access that in cash, trust me, you will go through a very painful process. Now, on the other hand, if your IPP has been invested in what we call a pension fund, then that means you can access a third of your benefit in cash, but the remaining 2/3 has to go into either an annuity or an income drawdown. I still insist, if you have been doing proper retirement planning, even this 1/3, let it go into your annuity or your income drawdown. Stop accessing your retirement benefits in cash. They are not meant to come to you in cash. And RBA, the Retirement Benefits Authority in Kenya, actually give very sad statistics. They say that for Kenyans who access their pension in cash, they blow the entire retirement benefits in just 3 years. By 3 years, it's all done. So I hope now you get to understand why the solution you have once you retire is an annuity or an income drawdown. Let's take a few minutes to differentiate between these two products. So an annuity, anytime you go to the village and maybe you find your retired teacher and you ask them, Mwalim, unafanya? The one thing they tell you is, mimi tunakula pension yangu. That word, mimi tunakula pension yangu, that is an annuity. And it's basically an insurance product that retirees purchase once they retire. So you come with your 10 million shillings pension, you go to an insurance company and they give you, and they guarantee you that for your entire lifetime, from now until the time that you go, we shall be paying you 100,000 shillings for the rest of your life every single month. Now that's an annuity. It's a contract that you get into with an insurance company and they guarantee you a lifetime income. Okay? And the beauty with an annuity is that it's the surest way of safeguarding against old age poverty, because anytime I do the math, you'll always notice by the 8th year of taking an annuity home and getting that monthly income, you'll have depleted pretty much like your entire capital that you gave, the principal amount that you used to purchase the annuity. Anything after that ni marupurupu, by the way. Okay, and it does not matter. Even if you retire at 55 and you buy your annuity at 55 and you live up to 95, the insurance company will still honor the monthly income to you. Okay, and I love it that even with annuities, you can even add your partner to your annuity. You can purchase a joint annuity, and what that means is your partner is also safeguarded against old age poverty. Hata ukimtangulia, if you exit before them, say you buy an annuity, you pass on 20 years after you've bought that annuity, and your partner still lives for an additional 20 years after you're gone. If you are joint annuitants, it means that even for the extra 20 years that your partner will still be alive, they will still continue to receive a monthly income. Guys, do you see what your pension can do? Pension, literally doing proper retirement planning, will ensure that we never have to transfer black tax to our children. And I'm hoping that that is the prayer and a goal that a lot of us who are in this sandwich generation that we have, because we have gone through it. It's been tough, because we already have our own responsibilities, like within our nuclear families, and you have all these responsibilities, to your parents and so on. And we do not want to transfer this same burden to our children. And we can actually ensure that we don't get there by simply being intentional with our retirement planning. Now, on the other product called an income drawdown. Now, an income drawdown is a 10-year investment tool that retirees purchase. So, and I note that a lot of retirees who have a very sizable retirement benefits, so someone like who has 70M, 100 million, 200 million, by the way, let me tell you, for those who do proper retirement planning, you would be blown away by the kinds of pension benefits they actually leave the workforce with. So don't think, yes, we saw the statistics by Allianz, they were sad, but they're still very affluent Kenyans who are enjoying their golden years because they were very intentional in building their retirement benefits. Okay, so with the IDD, or what we call the income drawdown, this is now an investments product, and with this product, a pensioner will now purchase an investment product that runs for 10 years, and now they draw down from that benefit. So for example, if you have, say, a 100 million pension, okay, and you decide every year I'll be drawing down just 8%. Okay, so 8% of the 100 million is 8 million. So now you get to divide it over the 12 months, and now that becomes your monthly income. Now on the other side, the insurance company that has sold that IDD to you, okay, will do their best to invest your benefits to ensure that they give you a good return. So if you're drawing 8%, and maybe the return on your fund is about 10%, you actually realize that literally even your 100 million principal amount is actually growing. Okay, because you actually drew down less than less than the return that you got on your fund. But reality has it that a lot of the IDDs locally in the past have tended to give sometimes a return less than what our pensioners draw down. And because of ill advice, a lot of people end up drawing down 12%, 10%. And if your investment manager or that insurance company is not able to match the amount that you drew down, then it means that in that particular year, you have eaten into your principal retirement benefits, the principal amount. So what that could eventually lead to, it could lead to you reducing even the amount of pension. So by the time the 10-year mark is done and you want to renew your IDD, you may be working with a lesser amount than you started with initially. But what I say is, if you have a very ample pension or retirement benefit, then just draw down. Ensure that you work with a moderate, drawdown, something like 8%, 7%. And then go for a high performing fund that can maybe average something like 10%. That way you know that you will stay below, the average return of the fund. And the good thing with an IDD, it actually can give you a proper route to ensuring that your pension benefit eventually, at whichever point you transition, can still end up within your estate, and hopefully it can still be part of your inheritance. Okay, so I do hope that you get to understand the difference between an income drawdown and an annuity, and over the years, because at this point, these two products are still a little bit removed from us, okay, because at this point, what we are doing is now retirement planning. At the point where we decide now to retire, we will get to sit down and see maybe which option, depending on how much you are able to accumulate, okay, in your pension. We'll get to sit down and see, so do we go for an annuity? Do we go for an income drawdown? A good financial advisor at that point will bring you, different quotes from the annuities, different quotes from the IDDs, and then now you get to weigh your options, like which one will work best for you at that point, and hopefully maybe even for your partner, right? So there you have it. Guys, statistics such as Kenyan retirees are the poorest, some of the poorest retirees globally. It is sad, but it is our reality, because retirement planning is something that we don't take seriously. And we need to change this. We need to start planning for our retirement from the first time we start earning an income. Because also something else I note as I'm working with my clients in their retirement planning journey, we start planning for our retirement is there something like too late? But we start planning for our retirement late, way late in our income earning years, because a lot of us start now thinking of, I want to get started with my retirement planning, maybe in our 40s, in our late 30s. You young one who's watching this, our younger sisters, our younger brothers, if you are there in your 20s and you are earning an income, I want you to start planning for your retirement now. By the way, if you ever sit down and project your pension benefits, you will notice that pension benefits compound, and pension planning is basically all about being intentional with it and time. As long as you have time, that benefit will grow to crazy levels. So I want you to take advantage of that, because at your very young age, you probably have way less commitments, okay? So ensure that from a very young age and from your early income earning years, you start intentionally working towards your retirement planning. And retirement planning, you can even start from as low as 500 bob in your pension. So please, it's not a costly affair. It's all about building that discipline, that muscle, that financial muscle of knowing that every month I set aside maybe X% of my income towards my retirement. Because the truth is, the younger you is the only person who can take care of the older you. So how about we be more intentional with our retirement planning? So that's it. That's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. My name is Mama Bima Kenya. And please make a point of subscribing to my channel and ringing the notification bell so that every time I drop a new video, you are notified. Thank you so much for your time, and until next time, see ya.